right, and we are back with another episode, and joining me today, Brittany Kennell. How's it going?
Hi, I'm so good. How are you?
I'm doing good. We were talking about your last name, how you get the different, pronunciation.
Different
Yeah,
pronunciations. Yep.
yep, yep. I had to ask. I was talking to Mandy Blue before this, and I was,
He,
how do you say it? So he said it correctly, though. I'll give him that.
but you're not the first one to. I mean, it's like it looks simple, but there are definitely some different ways to say it, and I just resort to the dog kennel. It's
Yep.
just the easiest one.
Works for me. Works for me. Awesome. All right. For starters, tell everyone a little bit about yourself and where you come from.
Yeah, I'm a country singer, writer, artist, and I'm from Montreal. Oh gosh, Dad's calling. Sorry about that. So yeah, I'm from Montreal. Grew up and born and raised here, and I moved to Boston for songwriting. And then from Boston, I moved down to Nashville, and I was there for about 7 years. And I moved back. And crazy to say that I've already been back 3 years. Doesn't feel that way, but. Yeah, and then just kind of being a part of the Canadian scene here for the last couple of years and launching a new project and all that stuff. So
awesome. And tell me more about your story here. You're actually the first. You're known to be the first Canadian on the U.S. version of The Voice.
Yeah. I always forget. It's a good trivia card question. I always forget that happened just because, I mean, at this point it's been 5 years, but even still, like right after or even during, you're like, is this actually happening? It's so wild. But yeah, I mean, such a cool experience to be part of, and it really kind of gave me a good starting point to becoming an artist. I just loved performing. Up until that point, like I was always writing songs. And I would record songs. Like I had EPs, I put stuff out, but really I did that with the intention of trying to get attention from publishers.
Right.
And because I just wanted to write songs. But doing The Voice was kind of really like, oh, I actually really like performing. I think I want to try this out. So
yep, nice.
Good turning point.
What was your experience like working with Blake Shelton?
Honestly, he was so nice. Like you get nervous meeting. I don't know. I just get nervous in general. I'm a nervous Nelly, but meeting somebody that's in the industry and has a big name and you're on camera, like it's just, very nerve wracking. So, but he just was just as you see on TV, he's so nice and down to earth and just hilarious and, making jokes that he was hiding whiskey on stage and just, he was a good time.
Awesome. And is there any like behind the scenes moments that you can share that maybe wasn't caught on camera or would never be shown on TV?
Ooh. I think the one that stands out for me was with Miley Cyrus, and we were on stage, myself, Miley, and Blake, and a camera light went out, so they had to stop filming for like a good 15-20 minutes. And so we were kind of just hanging out and telling stories. And Miley was sharing this story about how her mom threw her this birthday party. And she thought that Shania Twain was there the whole time. But it ended up being like this Shania Twain impersonator.
Interesting.
I was like, okay, good story. But yeah, we kind of just went on for our love for Shania, which was hilarious. So
awesome. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So, for those who may have never heard your music, how would you describe your sound?
I would say, I mean, it's very like upbeat and fun. I really am a big fan of like colorful and kitschy lyrics. Like I love play on words. I love taking listeners to a time and a place. And yeah, and definitely a little bit more of that like retro vintage sound. But I mean, all in all, like I would say if you're a big fan of like Miranda Lambert, Maren Morris, Casey Musgraves, I would say like I feel like I maybe am the child of those three.
Yeah.
I don't want to claim that, but I would say that those are my like three inspirations of women in country right now.
Okay, awesome. And you were also a semifinalist in the SiriusXM Top of the Country.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Congrats on.
Thank you.
Tell us your experience with all of that.
Honestly, it was amazing. Just because it kind of came at an odd time where COVID hit. And so everything on the calendar was totally wiped out. And this was like the one thing that kind of just kept me going and gave me inspiration. And we had just great mentorship. They gave us assignments to do. So that kind of helped, give you some motivation to make videos and that kind of thing. So that was really cool. And of course, just to be part of that group of artists was just awesome. And such a great welcoming home for me coming into the Canadian community, just because I'd been gone for so long. So it was just really cool to be a part of that.
Absolutely. All right.
Yeah.
And all right. So you're single, bought the t-shirt.
Yeah.
Tell us about this single and how it all came together.
Yeah. It definitely started with the title. I was at my friend's house for dinner, and her dad is predominantly French, and he was kind of trying to tell me that in English. He was like, I don't know much English, but I know this one saying, it's been there, done that, bought the t-shirt. And I laughed and I was like, oh, that'd be such a great title. So I wrote it in and I tucked it away for a rainy day. And through COVID, being single in COVID was not easy. And I think anybody that's single in COVID could agree. And just dating in this time is just not fun in general. And so I kind of wrote this song on I don't know, I think there were moments where people were going, or at least for myself, where it's like you kind of start going through the little Rolodex that you have. You're like, oh, well, maybe that boyfriend would have worked, or that boyfriend. It's like, no, don't go back to the exes, move forward. And so I just wanted a fun kind of upbeat song about moving forward in life and not going backwards to relationships that maybe didn't work out the first time.
Okay, perfect. And it's available on all platforms?
Yeah, it's on Spotify, Apple, and we have a music video as well on YouTube that you can check out.
I was going to say, tell me about this. I actually really enjoy this music video.
Thank you.
The creative vision behind it all.
Well, it was definitely inspired by the Top of Country contest. We were assigned to do a recording studio session. And so we knew about this Mix Bus studio that we had here in Quebec. And it's a studio on wheels. And so we're like, let's get that studio, park it in my favorite part of the city. Yep. And, we'll record inside and we'll film on top of the bus. And it was amazing. It was so much fun, other than it being absolutely freezing. It was, nobody knows. It was miserable. We were on top of that bus, in between shots, crying because it was so windy and so cold. But we had to act like it was a hot, sunny day.
I bought it.
Thank you. Bought the t-shirt.
Yeah, I bought it.
Love it.
Awesome. All right. So you talk about songwriting and stuff. Where do you find most of your inspiration when writing?
A lot of it comes from just day to day. I always say this, that I have my songwriting cap on and that I'm always just thinking, about titles or storylines, and whether that's in books, TV shows, conversations. I'm always listening, and it's almost like I have a light bulb. If I hear something that's a song idea, and I'll just write it in. And so that's kind of how I gather at least a lot of my ideas. And I really always try to relate them to something personal, or at least have a touch of personal experience in the songs, because I find that really helps with relatability and connectivity. So that's important for me as well. But yeah, and then just sitting down to write them, it depends, depending on where I visualize the song or how I visualize it. Is it something upbeat? Is it something slow? Is this something to make people dance? Something to make people think? And that's kind of how I'll craft the progression and the melody and that kind of thing.
Okay. And what would you say is the weirdest, most awkward way you've ever come up with a song?
Oh gosh.
Is there a moment that you have that you're like, this is weird, but this is a song?
Oh my gosh. I feel I would say, maybe it's weird, maybe it's not. Maybe it's a little Taylor Swift, but I feel with dating, you're I could be on a date or something, or I could be talking to somebody. I'm like, yeah, this is weird, but this would make a good song, and I need to write it.
Just speaking, you're just
yeah,
voice. Yeah. Oh, this is it.
Yeah. The best too is I feel sometimes to my parents, they'll be like, what about this for a song idea? I'm like, no, mom. I'm like, actually, though.
That's awesome. And do you do a lot of co-writing as well?
I do. Yeah, I do. A lot of Zoom writing for sure. I feel like I did more co-writing when I was in Nashville. I think just because it's kind of the thing you get into there. And I feel like, but I don't know, I write a lot alone as well. So I love both. But definitely with COVID, it's been all Zoom writing, which is fun. So yeah.
What would you say is your favorite thing about co-writing?
I just love meeting people. Like I love getting to hear other people's stories and their journey in the music industry, and just kind of getting to meet people and support them with their songs as well.
Awesome. Okay. And
yeah,
we're talking about Mandy Blue. You're recently on a song with him.
Yeah.
Tell us what it was like working with Manny.
I love Manny. He's just such a sweetheart. Like, the funny thing is, like, we've only actually met once. But we were kind of like two ships where, I would lived in Nashville for so long. He's up here from Montreal as well. And when I moved back, he moved down there. So we kind of just missed each other, but we had a mutual friend that introduced us. And I met him on a trip down to Nashville just before COVID hit. And he's just such a sweetheart. And then he reached out asking if I wanted to be a part of this song. And I was totally in love with the song. I was like, yes, 100%. Like, just such a great tune. So lucky to be a part of it.
Awesome. Great. And what would you say has been the best advice you've been given in your career up to this point?
Ooh, gosh. I feel like I have a journal full of these. I feel like the biggest one I've learned recently is like just learning how to let other people do what they're good at.
Yeah.
And by that, I mean, like, not always having to be the one that controls everything. And like I'm not I'm a little controlling in some ways as far as like art direction and that kind of stuff. But at a certain point, like, I think it's so important to let the video director do the video, let the producer do the producing, like, just really do what I'm good at and let other people do what they're good at. And within that, finding balance of like life and work. I think I spent a lot of time just like working 24/7. Now I'm like, okay, I'm going to actually like work and enjoy life as well. So Absolutely. Have a bit of both. Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Do we have any shows coming up people can look forward to?
We do. I feel like I'm like, we do. It's exciting. September, I am playing 3 shows at the Festival Western de Saint-Tite, which is a huge country festival here in Quebec. Doing that. And also my album comes out in September. So we're doing a little album launch show there as well. Yeah. So busy September, which is going to be fun.
Perfect. And what can people expect on it? Because it's a full-length album, right?
Yeah, full-length album. Yeah.
Expect on this whole album.
I really just hope that they, find something that they can relate to in the song, or in this album. Like, as far as just, I guess, helping with, I don't know. This is kind of my upbeat breakup album, is what I like to call it, and just something fun. It has to do with a lot with learning how to be honest with yourself and with others, and how to just move forward in life, because life is short and we need to enjoy it and be at our happiest. And so I hope that they can find that message in there, and also just have a good time listening to country music. So
perfect. And what's the title of this album?
It's called Ain't a Saint.
How'd you come up? Why'd you?
I guess this one is just, this song or title track. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to say or what I'm not supposed to say. We're gonna go for it. This song is the song about being honest with yourself and realizing that we're human, we make mistakes, and it's okay, and life goes on. And so, and that kind of really, is the umbrella to the whole album of just being honest, being happy, and moving forward with life.
Perfect.
So,
right.
Yeah.
And you have so much going on. Like, there's so much.
I like to keep busy.
what's next for you?
Well, definitely the album for sure. I know we were talking a little bit about jumping down to Nashville, maybe a little music video with Mandy Blue.
See,
I'd like to put that on the calendar. But yeah, just kind of getting this album out and hopefully getting some shows back and and I'm also kind of back to square one for the next album too. My brain's kind of already there with writing some more material for that. So perfect. Yeah, keep them busy.
Yep, absolutely. And all right, last thing, where can people find you on social media?
So I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Twitter's mainly like hockey updates. If you're a hockey fan, that's where I chirp. And then I'm trying to get on TikTok, but it's hard.
Yeah. What's your favorite hockey team?
Oh, Montreal Canadiens.
I kind of was cheering for them.
Are you an Oilers fan?
Unfortunately, yes.
That's all right. Oh, Oilers are good. It was an exciting season this year with the Habs going to the finals. It was cool.
It's one of those you got to cheer for the home team.
Yeah, I would have done the same for the Oilers.
Right, like it's back in 2001. I was a Colorado Avalanche fan for a couple of years.
Oh yeah,
that's just because like I cheered for Ray Bourque on his final season. Then they won the cup. I was a big fan.
Yeah,
of Joe Sakic, like all those guys.
Yeah.
So I kind of jumped on the bandwagon. And then once all those guys retired, I was like, okay, I'll go back to the.
I gotta go back to those. I'm kind of like that with Nashville's like my second team. I would say.
Yeah, I like them.
Just from living there and like going to see them, and then PK getting traded there. I was kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
So Nashville's there, but I'm with you. If another Canadian team was like the final team in the Stanley Cup playoff.
Yeah,
100%.
I was, it's
except maybe the Leafs. I don't know. The Leafs might be against my religion, but
the Leafs. I agree. There's too many Leaf fans here. Like I work with a bunch of Toronto Leaf guys. Like,
oh yeah,
like it's just
huge fans.
So it's like we're always like beaking each other. Kind of.
I know. We chirp a lot. These two teams. Yeah.
All right. Everyone go check out Brittany's new song, Bought the T-shirt, and
thank you.
Stay tuned for her full-length album coming soon.
Yay.
Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And let's keep in touch and talk soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks again.
Betcha. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Bye.
Yeah.